I have here an old Yukon spotting scope, and somebody gave it a drop test. It's not working. And now the main thing is how to open. There's nothing on the internet that tells you how to open it up. I managed to remove the front side and the eyepiece, but that is of no use. So I selected some tools. If you don't know what to expect, put everything on the table. A set of screwdrivers, bigger screwdrivers, tongs, a utility knife and a small piece of hacksaw. Most of all is this little thing. It can pick up, it's a magnet, comes out of an old hard drive, and that is to save all screws so that it won't get lost. Now let's try. I saw on the base plate there's some rubbers, so let's remove it. Aha! There's Phillips in there, and there's a Phillips there. So let's try to remove it. If I can get the magnet off the screwdriver. Good, here we go, onto the magnet. Nothing. So, now let's remove the front end. Hardly anything to see in there. And we can remove the eyepiece. Let's put this somewhere where it won't get damaged. Good. Now let's try to separate the two pieces. I'll try. Aha, I hear a click. No joy yet. I'm trying. Some ape in the distant past, he applied some epoxy there, and there may be some more places that I can't see right now. Oh yes, they're in the inside, also there. So I will see how to get rid of that. I found something. The mirror at the back came out with a bang. There it is. Now we can see how we can go further. Let's put the mirror aside in a safe place. By cutting through the epoxy, I managed to free the eyepiece section with using this tool. Very nice for opening up something. Now let's see if we can part the rest of it. Not yet. There's still something sticky. Let me try again. I removed some 4 screws from this mounting plate of the eyepiece, but I can't get it out because there's still some 2 screws holding it from the inside. And then I removed a little copper screw there roughly, but it's holding this dial in place, so it's nothing funny. The primary mirror device is now removed, and this thing can easily be removed with a utility knife, displaying the 3 set screws for the primary mirror. I found one of them to be completely eroded, that one. Somebody tried to force a screw right through to the mirror, damaging the seat. I was put it right here that this is a trial and error. I can't predict what the next step will be, so we'll have to be patient. After undoing the 3 screws, this piece came off quite easily, displaying the back side of the primary mirror. And for one thing, never touch an optical surface with your bare hands. There's the optical surface. I measure the holes that's still intact, and there you have the measurements. And now we move to the next screen. I found that the 3rd one is corroded here, damaging the seat for the screw. So that screw was inactive. So then I decided to use an M3 washer, put it in there, but the M3 washer OD is 7 millimeters, and the hole, the original hole, is only 6. I used a normal 60-degree 8 millimeter bit just to make an indent on the plastic, and then I used a center drill, and it is set at 4 millimeters depth. Then I had ample space to insert the washer, but because the body became very thin, I had to make a plan to support this piece here. So I added epoxy, very good epoxy. There it is, to the outside here, and also to keep the washer in place. Here we have the focuser over here, and then the eyepiece over here. I've covered the eyepiece so that I could use paint over here because it was tacky. I had to do that. Something to remember. If you have something you want to cover, like this part, then the inner portion of a toilet roll fits nicely, and you can cover that piece so that you won't collect dust. When I started off, this whole surface was tacky, and then I closed off all openings and also taped the seams with masking tape, and sprayed it with plastic dip. It's a kind of a plastic spray. But now you must remember, you can't put paint in the seams. So I covered it with masking tape, and when the paint was still wet, I removed the tape and used a very small paintbrush to cover those areas that was not sprayed. In this eyepiece, I found a crack in the nut holding it to the main body, and I fixed it with cyanoacrylate, or another name for it is super glue. Furthermore, I could not find any way of adjusting the primary mirror. Maybe the engineering was good enough so that the mirror base can just sit in there, and that is it. I tried to find a number 3 American thread screw to go right through from my initial drilling, but I could find nothing, so I had to drill it another 3.5 millimeter, but at this stage I used a 6 millimeter drill, and it worked perfectly. To put the mirror back in place, you use a small piece of welding wire and insert it in that hole, lining it up with the mirror, and then put the other 2 screws in, and you can remove it and put the 3rd screw in. The final product, and there it is. I could count the branches of trees on a nearby mountain about 2 to 3 kilometers away.